Oh my God. What a great question. Is it my mom or no?
We're celebrating Asian drag excellence this LGBTQ Herstory Month.
We wouldn't be here if there wasn't icons who has paved the way for us, and it's our duty to pay respect to them.
You have to realize where we came from. Always. You have to know where you came from in order to move forward. You just gotta know. You just gotta know.
An Asian figure that I would love to recognize today. Okay, some context. I used to watch this Vietnamese variety show with my parents called Paris by Night. If you know, you know. And there was this male entertainer who wore a bunch of makeup. He was basically like the Vietnamese Little Richard. His name is Tuấn Anh. I just remember seeing my parents so fascinated by him, entertained by him. And that showed to me that, you know, men can wear makeup and that it's okay to do. I didn't really think about it until I got older, but I was exposed to drag at a very young age. And that to me showed me that, you know, you can do whatever you want.
Somebody that I want to recognize today is definitely the youth of Vietnam. There are so many singers, songwriters, photographers, creative directors fighting for LGBT recognition. And more personally, Orange, who is a Vietnamese singer who I recently started in a music video with. She's this new wave of young magic in Vietnam, and she's one of the first to have queer and drag queens to be in her music video, so I thank her.
I want to recognize Taiwan as a whole country and island, you know. Growing up, Taiwan has always been on the sidelines in international politics. And can you imagine shopping and you pull down the countries that you want to ship to and it doesn't say Taiwan, it says ROC, Taipei, Taiwan. It's pretty sad, you know, it's very annoying, so I really want to put Taiwan to the forefront in what I do. So I want Taiwan to be recognized.
Can I tell you something? I love Margaret Cho. I don't say this lightly. For me, as a young kid, Margaret Cho was my first experience seeing an Asian person on screen that wasn't a stereotype. I really loved how she told her story through comedy. She talked about her entire family. That's who I want to highlight and share my appreciation with. Margaret Cho is a queen, sweetie, and she's Margaret, I love you, girl. I think we should work together. Or at least we should go get some bibimbap or something. I could make you Laotian food. I mean, we can go get tacos. We can get Korean tacos. They do that now. Korean tacos are a thing now, you know. But Margaret Cho, that's who I love and I will always love, because Margaret, you have paved the way for so many of us, and you continue to be a shining light, and you're stunning and gorgeous and funny and powerful and political, and you're just an inspiring woman.
You know who I actually love? Joel Kim Booster. It's actually iconic. I saw Joel do a panel the other day. And by the other day, I meant 3 months ago, but the other day. And I was actually just so gagged, because like when you just see somebody just in the spotlight, thriving, booked, like notable comedian, doing the thing, you kind of, for some reason, just think like, yeah, that makes sense, it's easy, like, okay, cool. Hearing the stories and the fight that Joel had to do to have the career that he has, while also still fighting for change and not just being like, okay, I finally got in, so let me just like play by the rules, like, that is amazing. That's a strong Asian person. I love you. I love you.
Well, immediately I think about my grandmother, Dee Ja, who became a huge star in like the 1920s. She was a person who really changed my mother's life. We're not blood related, but she was definitely a presence in my life, and I remember her as a kid. I remember being at a funeral. So that's the first person that I think about, like as Asian representation for me. She was a dancer, and she was the first representation of Indonesia of the time. She was in films with Claudette Colbert, and she was a big part in Bali High. She was definitely a presence, and I think about her. I think about being a child, being in her home and seeing these grand paintings of the productions that she was in. I think about that herstory of Asian representation at a very, very early time in the Hollywood movie industry. I think speaking of Dee Ja is a very obscure reference. I encourage people to Google who she is. She was definitely a presence in my life. Definitely Dee Ja, spelled D-E-V-I-D-J-A, editors, just in case you're wondering, but a very important figure and a presence in my life, and I think about her and her influence for me.
I think it's really important for people to know queer history and trans history, especially for younger people who may not know as much, because we need to know how we got here. There's been a lot of fights, a lot of sleepless nights to be exactly who we are. And this wasn't easy, and this journey is gonna continue. So as long as we know exactly the kinds of voices that were there to scream loudly for us to pave this way, we can't move forward beautifully.